Now, the Benguela Current Convention, known as BCC, is an intergovernmental convention between Angola, Namibia and South Africa, is bestowed the mandate to realize a coordinated regional approach to the long-term conservation, protection, rehabilitation, enhancement and sustainable use of the Benguela Current large marine ecosystem. The convention has appointed 12 youth ambassadors. Now, with more details on this, I'm joined by Ipinge Mjulu, the National Project Coordinator at the Benguela Current Convention, as well as Michael Kangono, one of the ambassadors at the Benguela Current Convention. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Mr. Ipinge, I just want to confirm your surname pronunciation.
Munjulu.
Munjulu. All right, very well. Thank you very much. Now, can you please talk to us, what exactly is the Benguela Current Convention?
Thank you very much for having us. Good morning, Namibia. The Benguela Current Convention, as you earlier mentioned, it's an intergovernmental organization between Namibia, Angola, South Africa, that is aiming at integrated management of the BCLME. We call it, it's the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem. It's an ecosystem, it's an ocean ecosystem that spans from South Africa to Angola. So it's a highly productive ecosystem. When it comes to fisheries, it has got also minerals, and serves as one of, as you know, trade. Perhaps 90% of the trade comes from the sea. So it's we have ports of Walvis Bay, Cape Town, Luanda. So that's the ecosystem services that the Benguela Current Large Marine Ecosystem provides us. Now the BCC is looking at the integrated approach in coordinating this management of the ecosystem to ensure its health, to ensure the environment, and to ensure that we derive the most economic benefits from it. So the convention itself, it's a treaty, then it encourages Namibia and South Africa to implement what the convention says.
Okay.
All right.
Now, the convention focuses on enhancing climate change resilience in the Benguela Current fisheries. Please talk to us about this.
Climate change, we all know it's a challenge. When it comes to fisheries, it's no excuse. I mean, it's no exception. What the Benguela Current Convention is doing right now is implementing a project called Climate Change, which is funded by FAO, Food Agriculture Organization. So what we have realized, what scientists have realized, is that the climate change has got impact on fisheries mainly, where we have fishing communities. Perhaps many Namibians will not know really when we talk about fishing communities, because they are not as much pronounced in Namibia as in South Africa and Angola. But we have these fisheries communities that are dependent on, their livelihood is dependent on sea for catching fish, and they get their income from there. So what climate change does, for example, if sea surface temperature increases, it has got possibility to displace this fish. So, and if you don't have the fish at a specific fishing communities, so it's correlates to the effects that this fishing community will then entail. So the climate change project will then is aiming at making sure that these communities are resilient in a way that they adapt, and they to ensure the proper maintenance of their livelihood, and as well as to absorb the shocks that climate change can impose upon them. So there are a few examples, such as alternative livelihood. For example, the rock lobster fisheries in Rudret, as well as in the west coast of South Africa. What this project is doing is looking at these communities and say, if you are much dependent on the rock lobster fisheries, can you do an alternative livelihood, such as gardening, for example? That's just one of the examples that I'll give.
All right. Now, Michael Kangono, you are one of the 12 ambassadors of BCC. What role do you serve?
Our role is to actually advocate for youth, for young people's voices in and actions in the area of conservation and sustainable use of the BCLME, where we are expected to actually develop and implement a youth engagement plan, and then we are also expected to advise on BCC, not BCC, but youth matters to the BCC. We are also expected to implement and to implement measures for that will serve to resolve issues that are being experienced by the BCC, and then for as well as to facilitate the involvement of young people in the implementation of BCC projects.
All right. Now, this plan that you are expected to implement, what does it entail?
The plan, we are actually looking at how do we get people involved? How do we get young people involved in really making sure they are well educated, and when it comes to the projects of BCC, and how do we also taking into account the business continuity of the projects from the current management to the next the next generation.
We understand you hosted a cleanup campaign at the beach. Talk to us about this.
Yes, we held the cleanup campaign in Swakopmund and Walvis Bay. That was on the 17th to 20th of March, where we actually were raising awareness. We were raising awareness and educating people on the importance of making sure our beaches are clean. Where we held partners that came on board as well. We did this with plastic packaging and NNF, that is Namibia Nature Foundation, where they came forth to present. And we also had the ICC, an International Coastal Cleanup Organization, that also assisted us to make this campaign successful.
All right.
The main aim was actually to raise to people that we want a clean environment is safe for us.
Yeah.
And we just want everyone to really take it up to them and to spread the word to the rest of the country, to make sure that everyone is aware and they make use of the right disposing measures.
Okay, very well. Now, we are running out of time, but just briefly answer this question. In 2013, the Youth Summit hosted the convention calling for effective governance. Has government yielded to this call?
I believe yes.
Okay.
Because in 2013, that is the same year, the three countries came together to sign, to officiate the BCC, which is to officiate, to spearhead the regional collaboration when it comes to ocean governance. Yes.
All right. And Mr. Munjulu, the convention is the first intergovernmental commission, as you mentioned. So what has been some of its achievements? Briefly, please.
Thank you. The convention, some of its achievement is the establishment, for example, of the Compliance Committee. This is to recognize that activity at ocean does not know boundaries. When the oil spill happens in South Africa, Angola, it has got the same effect in Namibia. So it then harmonizes these policies between these countries to work together to ensure that the ocean is clean. It has produced through scientific forums, it has produced various scholars, top scholars, assisted countries to formulate policy, harmonize sectoral policies to ensure that we are not working in silos. So that's but some of the achievements.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for taking our time to talk to us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, that was Sipinge Munjulu, the National Project Coordinator for Benguela Current Marine Ecosystem, as well as Michael Kangono, who is the Ambassador for the Benguela Current Convention. And they were just speaking about the Benguela Current Convention.